Hi everyone, my name is Kendall Huggs, and this is my case study and behavioral support plan for EDEC 430. So we are going to start with my child's description, and for now I'm going to call him BL to protect his identity. So BL is a 3-year-old boy who lives here in Dillon, Montana, and he was born and raised here. He is an only child and he lives with his mom. His mother and father, they divorced when BL was almost 2 years old. Um, and so he only sees his father on rare occasions. He lives in South Carolina, and so whenever he comes back to Dillon to visit his family or see BL, it's not very often. I have worked with this child for the last year. I sub at his daycare whenever I'm needed. And so I've gotten to see how this child has grown. And I have noticed when his father comes to visit, which I think has been maybe 3 times that I'm aware of in the last year, um, his behavior is definitely changed. He definitely acts out more. He says no more. And he doesn't play well with other students after he's been with his dad for a little bit. He usually leaves school for a few days to go and hang out with his dad. And so BL, like I said, is an only child, but he has a cousin that attends the same daycare, and his cousin is a year older. And they spend a lot of time with each other. If it's not at school, then they're at each other's houses or they're together on their grandpa's ranch. Um, so this is BL's closest friend and also the child that he fights with the most. Um, so he is an energetic and fun child, and he loves playing with other kids, and he gravitates towards the leader role when playing any game. He loves playing outside, and he is drawn to the magnets that we have inside whenever he first comes into the school. And he has a lot of friends at the daycare, and he usually plays with anybody that's 3 or 4 years old there and tends to stay away from the younger kids. We have a couple kids under the age of 2 that attend school there, and BL prefers not to play with them, and so he kind of stays away from them, and the little kids stay away from him. Um, so now that we know a little bit about our child and his background, we are going to talk about his behavior issues. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is BL has a hard time managing his own emotions. So he doesn't like to be told what to do, so he often responds with no. And then he usually, after that, he usually hits, kicks, yells at another student or the teacher even. And so managing his own emotions is something that we are going to focus on throughout this whole case study and behavioral plan. Um, and so most of the time, this managing his emotions takes place during circle time and nap time. He has a hard time uh, sitting there and participating in circle time, and he usually drifts away towards the other toys, and he rather play than sit there with the rest of his peers. And then during nap time, he is one of our best nappers, but it takes a while to get him settled down and to relax his body. So oftentimes we'll have to try reading to him, try rubbing his back, and once we do get him calmed down and relaxed, he usually falls asleep instantly. And so both of the circle time and nap time incidents, they usually happen about 3 times a week, like a major incident, and can last up to 20 minutes, anywhere between, I don't know, 2 minutes and 20 minutes. It just kind of depends on what has happened. And then during free play, these ones are his shorter times of having behavior issues. So this will only last up to 5 minutes. So when another child takes his toy, he can't just say, hey, that's my toy. He usually responds by physically hurting another child. And then after he realizes that he has hurt another child, he says sorry, gives them a hug, and he'll run to the teacher and say it was an accident, even though I know it wasn't an accident. And so his mom doesn't really want much to do with this behavioral plan. She kind of likes to deny any type of behavioral issues. And So anytime that the head teacher at the daycare has brought up these issues in the past, she kind of just shoots them down and she doesn't really want to hear about it. So from what I've gathered, this behavior only usually takes place at school with the other children around. Um, and so the goals for this behavioral plan is to help BL manage and regulate his own emotions, because like I said, his emotions are bigger than the rest of the child and he has a hard time kind of understanding those emotions. And also communicating with the way that he's feeling rather than, screaming, saying no, kind of talking to the teacher and letting us know how he's feeling. And so then also another goal is to promote good behavior, and I plan on doing this by giving the child praise and acknowledgement when necessary. I think it's important to let the child know that he's doing good, because oftentimes he just gets in trouble most of the time. So it's important to acknowledge him when he does good. And so I also plan to do a sticker chart. And so when he meets his goals throughout the day, he will get a sticker. And so I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. And another goal is to manage our own stress. It can be very easy to become frustrated with children that aren't listening as well. And so we just need to make sure that we are modeling good and appropriate behavior so the children can look up to us and kind of see how they're supposed to react. And so ways that we can meet these goals that I just talked about are setting goals throughout the day. So it's important to focus on one day at a time instead of on the big picture, because it's going to take a while to get to that long-term goal. And so setting goals daily or even weekly is a great way to kind of break that down. And I plan on using a sticker chart to help him realize that he's meeting his goals and allow me to see how many goals that he's meeting. And so once these sticker charts get full, he will get a prize, an educational prize, of course. And so I also believe that giving him choices is another great way to meet these goals and help communicate. This will help the child learn to express his own opinions and have some control over his daily tasks. And this can also lead to better communication skills. And so then for the biggest thing that I hope to incorporate is a quiet area. I really would like for BL to realize when he needs this quiet area and know that this isn't a place to go for time out. This is a place for him to go and calm down and for him to help manage and regulate his own emotions. And so there'll be several things in this area where it might help him to calm down. So like books, stuffies, a feelings chart, and just ways to help him regulate his own emotions. And to monitor all of this, there will have to be meetings weekly for the first little bit to kind of see what's working and what's not, because this behavioral plan isn't set in stone, and it's meant to be altered as they learn more about the child and what works and what doesn't. Another thing is communication. Communication between the teachers, the assistant teachers, and the subs like me is a great way to help monitor BL's behavior and kind of learn what's working and what's not. And that's kind of an overview of what I found in my behavioral plan and case study. And thanks for listening.